Hey, what's going on? My name is Dave, and welcome to Reviewing Old Comics. Today we're going to take a look at Sergeant Rock's Prize Battle Tales. Got a little display out here. I've got my DC Direct Sergeant Rock figure up. Really cool figure that we will possibly do a video on soon. And here's the comic that we're going to look at today. DC Comics Giant 80-page war annual, Sergeant Rock's Prize Battle Tales. We even have Sergeant Rock with us today to watch us read and review this giant war annual. So on the cover, we get a glimpse at 7 stories that are included inside. It says, from the silent war below the sea to thundering combat in the skies, Sergeant Rock has picked 7 prize battle tales too hot for even war itself to handle. So we get the DI and the Sand Fleas. We get Calling Easy Company. Excuse me. We get Gun Jockey. Silent Fish. What's the Price of a B-17? The Island of Armored Giants. We get a dinosaur in there. And Out in Front. Oh, forgot the back cover. As is tradition, we need to look at the back cover first. We consider the back cover part of the whole magazine as a whole. We're going to look at that ad on the back first. Ride a Seagoing Thunderbolt with DC's newest battle star, Captain Storm. So it's a house ad. The one-legged PT boat skipper who stands on a floating keg of TNT every time he battles the enemy. One-legged. He's serving in combat with a prosthetic limb. This is what made America great, kids. It really is. Watch for him at your favorite newsstand during the month of March. Okay. I've never read a Captain Storm comic, but I'm going to be on the lookout. So this is a DC 80-page war annual, as previously stated. There are no ads in here except for house ads. This is from winter of 1964, and it's very possible that this was also a Christmas comic like the other 2 before this one that we've reviewed so far. I don't know why. It's just because it's random. I'm doing this by random, you guys. That's the other thing. This is a stack that I'm just going through. All right, so it's possible this was a Christmas comic as well that could have shown up in like a 12-year-old's stocking, like wrapped around a carton of Pall Malls, stuffed into the top of the stocking with maybe an orange in the toe. Table of contents. This is great. This is what we would get from DC, and it was a really cool thing. We get this frontispiece, I think is what this piece is called, drawn by Joe Kubert. And we have a table of contents. And what's nice about the table of contents is that we get to see the names of each artist that did each story. And that's something that you didn't see a lot of in this era, especially from DC. So it's nice to see who did everything. Okay. First story is the DI and the Sand Fleas. This story's okay. It's just okay. We're going to skip through it because we have 80 pages to go through and review. And so what I would say about the DI and the Sand Flea is it kept my interest all the way through, but I would give it a 6.5. Now, this is what's up. So the second story is called Silent Fish, and it's by Russ Heath. Excuse me, Russ Heath, who used to do, if I remember right, a lot of covers for DC, and he was really good. And this comic is really well. This story is really well drawn and really well told. So it's about this frogman who's trying to plant explosives. I don't want to give too much away. Actually, you know, let's just, this is once again, what is this, a 60-year-old comic? 56-year-old comic? 57-year-old or something. So he's diving and he's trying to do some underwater demolition work, right? And there's this shark that it keeps pestering him. It's moving closer and then going back, moving closer and then going back. It's kind of messing with him, right? But it just won't attack. And so he's doing his work and he's creeping up on these Japanese guys that are inside this cave here, and they lower. First they shoot at him, and see, they're shooting down there at him, and this is the gnarly part right here. They lower a dude down by a rope with a samurai sword, swinging at him down here. Like, look at this. Scheisse. And he manages to explode these dudes, right? This guy's just this is quite a day for this guy. And then the shark's back, huh? The shark is back, still messing around, right? And then a Japanese sub comes, and it physically bonks him on the head. Thung! It runs right into him. The conning tower hits him, right? And so he's like numb. He can't move his arms. He's kind of spinning. The shark comes and just kind of nudges him and checks him out and messes with him a little bit, right? And then there's some depth charges going on. More depth charges. Look at these great panels of the shark, dude. So he plants this TNT. Look at this. He's got a standoff with him and the shark, man. This is just masterfully done. All right, some Japanese frogmen show up, and they're trying to take him out, right? They're trying to take him out, and the explosion goes off. He manages to blow up the sub, right? And he surfaces, but he's like paralyzed. He can't move his arms or his legs because from the explosion. But the shark shows up and chomps both of those Japanese frogmen, and then takes off, man. And so it is, and so it may be. All right, so this is like, for me, when I read this yesterday, this is, I would, at the point of reading this for the first time, I would give this a high rating. Like, I mean, that was a great story. I don't even know where to put it, because the thing is that it kind of goes really well. The pacing and conjunction of this story and the next story out in front, I give it a 9. So here's what's going on here. This is a really short story, and this is also, I think these are the two best stories in the book. So they're leaving this guy, or this guy's got to man this spot. He's got to man this spot, right? I'm out here in front of Easy Company like a seeing-eye dog, but I'm the guy who needs the dog. Everything's a blur. Something's moving out there. Nothing, just a bird. Thud, thud, thud. What's that sound? It's getting louder, someone's coming. It's just my heart. Thud, thud, thud. Hey, Joe. We've been shot up on patrol, Joe. We need your help. Where are you, Joe? Speak up, Joe. Snap. Joe. Pling. Blam! Pow, 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 pow. My name ain't Joe. The end. How heavy was that, huh? That was heavy. All right. The editor even knew how heavy those two stories were right next to each other, I think, because boom, he immediately goes to a double-page house ad. So we get a look at the DC Gallery of Battle Stars, right? These are 5, at this point, probably high-selling, especially Army at War and GI Combat are 2 very high-selling books at this time. I can tell you the interesting thing about this is that the popularity of these comics, of GI Combat in particular with the Haunted Tank, carried on to my service in the Army. It was a very common thing to have guys that I served with who had the experience of reading this comic book as a kid. So there's GI Combat. haunted tank. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's about a tank that's haunted by a Confederate war general, Lieutenant Jeb Stuart of the Haunted Tank. And then All American Men of War. I have never read Johnny Cloud, the Navajo Ace, but it looks really cool. I don't have any. I'm going to have to get one when I find one. Star Spangled War Stories had The War That Time Forgot. So this was a popular title, but I don't think that this was a monthly title. And we're going to get one of those stories in this book where it's it's dinosaurs fighting World War II soldiers. And then we got Our Fighting Forces, Gunner, Sarge, and Pooch. I think I have a couple of these. I do remember enjoying them. And then here's the flagship title of this line of war books that DC had in the early to mid 60s. It's Sergeant Rock and Easy Company in Our Army at War. I think they did a good job. This figure is pretty good, don't you think? I think it is. Unfortunately, because of weird political correctness, this figure did not come with a cigar, even though it looks like he's supposed to have a cigar. And I mean, the character frequently has a cigar. Maybe I'm thinking of Nick Fury. Anyway, moving on to the next story, Island of Armored Giants. So this story is very well drawn. And it's just cool panel after cool panel of dinosaurs fighting a small platoon or a group of men and a tank. But the writing is not that great. And I think this is Ross Andru. Yeah, it's Ross Andru and Mike Esposito inking. And this is a team that would draw Spider-Man like a few years after this, maybe about 10 years after this. They would be the monthly team on Spider-Man for a number of years. Ross Andru and Mike Esposito. So this is exciting stuff, but I was bored with a lot of the text, and even the story itself wasn't all that great. Could have been better. You know, this is like a 6.5 or a 7, maybe an 8, just because of how cool this red T-Rex is. He's got long arms for a T-Rex. Maybe he's an Allosaurus or something, because look, he's ripping up these palm trees. This is a great panel right here. Crack, roar. Yeah, maybe a 7.5 or an 8 because of this. All right, moving right along. Can't show everything. This is a good story, but it's not great. This as well. So this is, what's the price of a B-17? Who is this? This is Joe Kubert. So, this is okay. This is okay. It's this situation. These guys got a brand new B-17. It's a brand new crew, brand new pilot. Navigator asks the pilot, "What's the price of a B-17?" And every time they get hit and they lose a guy, the navigator asks him, "What's the price of the B-17?" Each time, over and over and over again. A lot of people are dying. A lot of explosions are happening. And a lot of minds are being opened to, I guess, to the complexity of war, I suppose. This magazine is being read mostly by 12 to 14-year-old boys, but then also all the way up to adults. But not really that much, because they had their own stuff going. Comics, magazines, and periodicals were very popular. So there was a niche for everything in the United States back in the old days, but not anymore. But it's different anyway, you know that. But what I'm saying is that a lot of the guys that I served with had grown up reading this stuff. Another house ad for Our Fighting Forces and for the War That Time Forgot. That's a cool cover. I've never seen that comic before. Gun Jockey. So this is another one of those. It's a similar story to the one that we just read. This is an ongoing situation, and it's pretty darn cool. You've got this bomber pilot or a P-38 pilot or something, I think. Submarine captain, and then the infantryman. And they're all saying, I'm nothing but a gun jockey. And they each go through and tell you, yeah, he's a P-30. Suppose you think you're looking at a P-38 pilot. Negative. I'm just a gun jockey. So they go through and they tell you their job. Remember what I just said? A lot of the guys I served with read this stuff when they were 12 or 14. And he goes through, and this is really beautifully drawn. It's actually really sick. Check it out. It's super cinematic. He's telling you his job, his situation, and yeah, as I mentioned, the complexity of it all. He's nothing but a gun jockey. And then we get this guy who's the skipper of a Navy submarine vessel, and he says he's nothing but a gun jockey. Then we get this guy. Our guy. Pair of feet, carrying it along on a pace that never ends. I eat with it, sleep with it. I'm just a pair of hands. I clean it even though I can't remember when I've last had a bath. I feed it even though I can't remember when I've last had anything but K rations. Pew! There are gun jockeys on both sides of this war. Some you see and some you don't see. It's got a great ending right here. So, first of all, our guy here, he makes it through. Spoiler alert. This is awesome right here. Everybody's a gun jockey. I'm a walking one, and that buzzard's a flying one. But it's all the same in the end. Taka, 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 pew, 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 pew. There's never enough room for all the gun jockeys around. Walking, swimming, riding, flying ones. There's never enough room. Pow, pow, pow. Look at him, gentlemen. A real fighting man. You can't tell the difference between him and his gun. How sick is that? He is the gun. Another half-page house ad. This is that, the Navajo pilot, I think. Is that All-American Men of War? Yeah, Johnny Cloud, the Navajo Ace. So I remember seeing these covers. I don't have an issue yet in my collection. I remember that there's a lot of parachuting covers, and so that interests me. All right, Calling Easy Company. This is a great story. I'm not going to give away any more spoilers. I'm just going to say that this is a fantastic story by Joe Kubert, and it keeps you going the entire time because it's a mystery. You don't know what happened to each one of these guys. Rock has to leave 4 guys on the top of a hill, and then he has to go and get the rest of Easy Company, and these 4 guys are left alone all night. And they come upon the first guy at the bottom of the hill, and he's in a state, right? And I won't give any more away, but it's just a beautifully done comic. You don't know what happened to all 4 of the guys until the very, very end, and it's really good. And then look at this right here. This is after the end of that story, you get this. Isn't this cool? Sergeant Rock of Combat Happy Joes of Easy Company invite you to a battle ball in every issue of our Army at War. And be sure to wear your steel pot. Holy shit. Yeah, pretty gnarly stuff, huh? Be sure to ask for it at your favorite store. It is, I mean, I don't know. It's just, I love this stuff. All right, so we're going to end up with a house ad. It's a subscription ad. It would have cost you $1 to subscribe to Sergeant Rock. Just 10 cents each instead of 12 cents if you subscribe. And then we get this nice piece at the very end. This is by Joe Kubert. Also, I don't know if I'm saying, I think I'm saying Kubert or Kubert. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I always said Kubert. I don't know. So we get this cool pin-up, the Combat Happy Joes of Easy Company, and we get everybody's name, and we get all their numbers next to everybody. There's Rock, and then there's all the combat happy heroes of Easy Company. Up, and then we see Captain Storm. So, what I would say about Sergeant Rock's Prize Battle Tales is that this was outstanding. And I imagine if I had read this when I was a kid when I was 12 or 14 in 1964, it would have piqued my interest even more in the military. But that happened for me. I was born in 1964, and that's when this comic was on the stands. So for me, I didn't read war comics until 10 or 15 years after this. But I had other influences that influenced me and an interest in the military. But this is a great comic. I hope you enjoyed our video of reviewing old comics and looking at Sergeant Rock's Prize Battle Tales from 1964. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.